On one of the various test drives with this, I ended up coming back into the laneway. As I was turning, I hit a pothole and I heard a knock on the suspension. So I was a little concerned what might be going on. So I was starting to look at it and I'd come to realize there was a little problem right there. Let me explain. This is your pivot point. So as your suspension goes up and your leaf spring flattens, this has to swing out. What was happening on the old one, this was already coming up and bottoming out, hitting here. So it told me that my leaf springs were junk. And the reason I didn't notice this, obviously, because when I put the leaf springs back on and had it just sitting on the chassis, I didn't have the massive cast iron engine and all the body panels to see the issue. So I was fortunate enough that Dad bought a set of leaf springs for that truck that turned out to not work. So they're going to go onto this truck. And that's what you're going to see here now. Got the spring on the driver's side, or the right-hand side of the vehicle so far. We mixed and matched some stuff just to ensure we got proper spring rate. But as we were taking it apart, we're looking at this little wedge here. And I think I had the wedge in the wrong way. Because as part of the steering, you want your caster to be tilt, say the front of the truck. You want the caster to be one way versus the other way. So I'm pretty sure when I had this in, I had it in the big end towards the front, so it was actually tilting my caster up or forward. So that could have also been part of my squirreliness. So the caster angle should be this way, not this way. And that's determined by the way it sits on the springs by this. So if I have the wedge like that, it's actually going to tilt my caster forward. So this wedge should be this way, to tilt it backwards. All right, leaf springs are back in. I got those wedges turned around, took for another test drive. Now that I have my caster going in the right direction, this thing isn't all squirrely all over the place. It's not like you're pushing a shopping cart down the aisle and the nose is going where the hell it wants. So problem solved on that. All right, so previously I said I thought I fixed the loose steering in this. Well, it seems to have come back. So I do have a new worm gear and a new selector gear to put in that steering box. But that also means I have to take that all apart again. This should be fun. Got the steering column out, got on the bench. Now time for disassembly. This is going to be a greasy mess because this is packed full of it. So remember, just because you get junk mail doesn't mean to throw it away. Lay it down on your workbench so you keep it nice and clean. Well, it's all apart. That's but the only good news, because apparently having a right-hand drive vehicle doesn't mean you need the right-hand worm gear. As you can see, the right-hand worm gear is angled this way, but this worm gear is angled that way. So that's a left-hand drive worm gear. Also, this is smaller. It's shorter and smaller gear completely. So the bearings won't even cross over. The joys of having a odd duck of a truck. Going through the manuals even, the steering gearbox in this truck was such a short run, it's just a mess. I can't even take a steering gearbox out of another truck. So since I'm waiting for steering parts to show up, we get to go into another montage of everybody's favorite electrical. Yeah. It's gonna be so much fun. Sorry. If you haven't invested in a Zap Shop cutter, get one. It makes life so much easier. Green wire is going to be for electric fuel pump. That's going to be under here. White wire goes to the brake light switch, we got power going back. This will go back up to the turn signal kit. This other green wire and yellow wire are my rear turn signals and brake lights. So only wires I have to get down here now is the tail light to the back and then the fuel tank sending wire from a little further up back to here. So wiring is getting close to done. Alright, so this truck originally didn't have turn signals when it was manufactured, but I like things called safety. This is a right-hand drive vehicle and where everybody drives left-hand, and this will be driving slower than everybody else. So it's a good idea. I'm going to throw turn signals in here because not many people know hand signals. Now to try to hide it, I want to use the standard switch that comes with the vehicle, not the bright shiny one. Problem is, the wires are soldered to the switch, so I'm going to have to take it all apart and rejig everything because I just want to make things difficult. This soldering iron, that's the only one I have, is not hot enough to melt the solder on this switch, or all the heat is going into the switch. So I'm just going to have to cut the wires off and splice it instead. Okay, I think I'm finally done. I got all my wires ran everywhere I need to go. So it's time to check out the turn signals and the four-way flashes, see if they work. So four ways. That one's bright, but it's not completely turning off. This one's pretty dim and not turning all the way off. Let's try turn signals. I'm going to turn this one on. Anybody else notice that one's still blinking? Okay, that turn signal. Yeah, it's not working. Let's turn the lights on. Still nothing. Four ways. I got some electrical gremlins to track down. I think my issue is I don't have a good enough ground or proper connection with the dual filament bulbs I have in these. Plus there's no tail lights. So it's just parasitic ground trying to get out wherever it can. Well, I think I'm done electrical as far as I can get for now. I do have to get the rear tail lights, get them finished being built, get them mounted, drill the hole on this side, put tail lights here, get those wired, and then we're going to start moving on to fuel tanks, because that's rusty as hell. The other ones hold through, so we are going to put new ones in. So let's hurry up and wait.